Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. Let's meet your hosts, Chris Angel and Michael Maher.
Welcome back, everybody. It's another episode of the Referrals Podcast. I'm your co-host, Chris Angel, here with your host, Michael Maher, and our guest, Brandon Nelson. Hello, Michael. Hello, Brandon.
Hi, Chris.
Hello, Michael.
What's up? It's like, who is talking? He's like, hey, Brandon, Michael, Ricky,
Hello,
Bobby,
hello.
and
Hello, anyone?
Yeah, anybody there?
Bueller, anyone?
Referrals Podcast, man. Like, we're rocking this stuff. The feedback we're getting, the people are emailing, the people are reviewing, 5-star reviews. This is fun. You know, I didn't want to do this thing. I didn't want to do this whole podcast thing. But I am so glad that we did it now. And I'm really glad because it led to today. Today is going to blow people away. They're going to be like, what? You mean by giving and giving back, it could actually come back in a big way and generate referrals? Yes, in a big way. So
I love it. And I love the way that we're talking about it today. Brandon created a GoFundMe account, and we're going to talk about how that went down and sort of what that resulted in. But let me just introduce Brandon for a second, and then we'll kind of, Brandon, pull all the goods out of you. Brandon's a broker owner of Brandon Nelson Partners out of Bellingham, Washington. What's up? Another Washington State guy. I love it. Brandon started out as a carpenter and a general contractor when he was 20 years old, and then moved into the inspection business, and then finally moved into real estate in 2006, which is awesome. Love that backstory. And you, it says here you had 80 referrals. Is that right?
I think what that is referring to is 80%, a little over 80% of our business is repeat and referral.
I love it. Yeah, because you guys are doing a lot of units. I mean, how many sales will you do this year in transactions?
Yeah, we'll do 140 units thereabouts. Yeah. We'll do about 64 million in volume.
That's incredible. I love it. And Brandon and his family, very athletic. His wife, Heather, kids, Hayden and Jazzy. I love that name, Jazzy. And this says Brandon, it says you are a world record holder for 24-hour distance. What does that mean? Like a marathon or what? You just run for 24 hours?
Yeah, it was a kayak record. So
no kidding.
Small lake in the middle of Bellingham. Just start paddling.
Start paddling.
24 hours. And then go as far as you can. I went 151.87 miles and then straight into an ambulance, straight to the hospital.
I can imagine. That's crazy. That's so crazy. I love
it. Won't do that again.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to talk to you about the GoFundMe, like what it was, how it happened. So, I don't know, Michael, do you want to say anything additional about Brandon or set this up in any way?
Yeah. So I think people are going to get an insight into Brandon. What we're covering, like 1/100% of what Brandon brings to the table today, right? This is one strategy of many strategies that he has that generates referrals and have been off the charts. He's a world record holder, right? And it's like he has a family of world record holders, you know, and he you know, a sidelight to this is he broke the world record. He sent Max, my son, a t-shirt and a letter talking about, thank you for being part of my world record. And you're a world record holder as well. And he also talked to Max about goals in that note about, you know, what goal are you setting and are you setting goals? And we've had conversations about that letter off and on over the last 5 years. So it's one of those where his impact is far greater than just this one strategy, but we wanted to be really super specific with this podcast, and some of them we've been kind of talking about generalities and philosophy and, you know, give first, give thanks, and give back. Today we want to dive deep into how giving back will actually lead to reciprocity and great things. And Brandon wasn't doing this to get the things back, but they came back to him. And so we want to analyze, but you know what? We can do this in a way that is giving back, and it could lead to, so some people might do this to get business. And you know what? That's okay. It's okay. Because here's the thing, if you do it and you don't get business, it's still going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome for whoever you helped. It's going to be awesome for your heart. But listen, do it to try to get business. I don't care.
Yeah.
Right. But if you don't get, and then there's this other group of people who log into Referrals Podcast, and they do it because they want to do it, right? They do it to give. And of course, I teach them that they need to be more appreciative receivers, right? Some people are just give, and never receive. Yeah. So it's one of those where this is a great example of giving from the heart that leads to filling the cart.
Yep. Yeah, I love it. So Brandon, I know that you're constantly looking for ways to add value to your clients. So tell us, how did you find, or how did you sort of like discover or decide to do this GoFundMe project?
So there's a kids sprint, canoe and kayak. Let me say that more clearly. A kids sprint, canoe and kayak race team here in Bellingham. Okay, Olympic style sprint racing, and it was started 5-6 years ago by a gentleman here in town. It gained traction, and these kids were learning this very obscure sport, which happens to be, a real close relative to my sport, which is ocean kayak racing. And these kids were just getting better and better at this sport. They started going to regattas and doing well, coming back from national regattas, having gotten on the podium and almost. So there was a buzz going in the community about this sport and this kids race team. So this summer they went to the national championships in Oklahoma City, and 3 of them qualified to go on to the Olympic Hopes Regatta in Poznan, Poland. Wow. A few months later. And so you can imagine the energy that was all around this. These kids had this opportunity. And then at the same time, one of the most decorated racers in that group, 15-year-old young woman named Anna, she wasn't going to go to Poznan, Poland, but she was going to go to Perth, Australia, and do this International World Cup ocean kayak race. So a couple of these families had the resources to do this, no problem, but a couple of them didn't. This was going to be a stretch for them to go. Okay. So because there was this story, this narrative that already existed, it just seemed like a natural fit to say, hey, all of us that are watching this and are kind of on the periphery of it, we want to be involved. We want to help make this happen for these kids. And so GoFundMe is this, this online fundraising site that is the perfect vehicle to make it really easy for people to, without having to do a bake sale or a garage sale or come to an event or anything else, just from the comfort of their phone or their laptop, make a donation and get involved in the story. Yeah. So take that and couple it with, most people are afraid to ask. They don't want to be greedy. It's not like I was in an accident or I have an illness. I'm actually just going to do a World Cup race, So it's an opportunity for me on the side or for a realtor in their community to say, well, you don't have to ask. I'll do it for you. Okay. Yeah. And then, so you've got a story with a lot of buzz to it. You're a third party who can come in and make the ask without them having to. Right. And then you've also got this other, as a realtor, you're in the marketing business to begin with. So you can use your media skills, your video, photography, or story writing, or whatever it is, to capture this story and put it in this bite-sized chunk to captivate people and to get them off. And you also get to flex your marketing muscle as a realtor.
Yeah. It's an influencer strategy, right? Is that if you want to be an influencer, or if you are an influencer, there is this amazing strategy of helping charities, because what it does is there's 3 parts to it, right? There's the charity, there's your community, and then there's you, right? And what we need to do is we need to be the bridge between the charity and our community. And that bridge, we're the bridge, or we're the connector, is a really powerful place to be, and doesn't cost you either any money or very little money, and it can actually not cost you a whole lot of extra energy. I talk about this with events a lot, is partner with a charity for every event, right? So you've got your charity, you're already inviting people to an event anyway. Why not have them come and bring a coat for the homeless organization or whatever it may be, right? So and you will actually get more people who attend. There's a better feeling around the event, and you're helping this charity, and it didn't cost you anything else, money or time wise. You have just been the conduit. You've been this catalyst, if you will, that has caused the charity to win, and your community to win. And that's what's great about this. And you weren't doing a GoFundMe for yourself, right? Those are some of the worst GoFundMes out there. The best GoFundMes are when you are helping someone else and you have chosen to help out of the kindness of your heart to organize this organization, right? Or this charity. So it doesn't have to be kayaking. It doesn't have to be canoeing. It just needs to be who needs help, and you are the one who's willing to ask for help from the community and use your influence powers, your marketing powers, and so on and so forth. Brandon, I love that. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, so exactly right. So if you would like, I'm going to go through my notes, and then I'll go ahead and share these notes with you, so you can share them with your listeners.
That'd be great.
Yeah. But what I did is kind of outline what we did, the order we did it in, and how you can do the same thing.
Love it.
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I love it. That's great.
Okay, awesome. So the first step, number one, is exactly what you said, Mike. You can decide who it's for. Okay. So it's what I have here is you can either focus on someone who's had an illness or an accident and needs the help. That's probably the biggest use of GoFundMe. Okay. And that's a great cause. Number two, focus on a person or a group who's had a success, and with some pooled resources, they could go on to the next level, right? That's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the third is focus on a cause, like a charity or a nonprofit or a campaign. But I would say strategically, if you want to get the most bang for your buck, either step into an existing story that already has a lot of buzz, and you're going to piggyback on that buzz. Kind of like, remember when blogging was popular and they had this term called news hacking? And people are going to be searching about the local fire that just hit the middle school. So you go in and you keyword a blog post that's going to get results, and you pop up to page 1 on Google because of it. Yeah. This is exactly the same philosophy. You step into an existing story as a connector, as an influencer. Okay. Or kind of like what great authors do is you help people put the pieces together and realize there's a compelling story here. Okay. And when we get into the GoFundMe, how does a GoFundMe work best? It needs to be a story. Okay. It's not just this person got hurt, give them money. You gotta tell them. I was thinking about you this morning. You didn't write a technical book about how to book back-to-back appointments at a restaurant. You wrote a parable. You wrote a story because it makes it digestible, right? It makes it relatable. Same exact thing here. Okay. So when you've chosen who you're going to focus on, then
let's download that, right? So let's hold accountable the listeners and the viewers of Referrals Podcast, right? So some examples would be a team is thinking about going to the Little League World Series, which is a $15,000 to $35,000 venture, right? They've already had local success, and you may not even know if they need to raise funds, but reach out to them and say, listen, if I did a GoFundMe and helped you guys raise some funds, would it be helpful? Well, a local team like Peachtree City, Georgia, like they went like 5 years ago. They went a couple of years ago, but it's a big deal when they make the Little League World Series. They've beaten 30, 40 other teams to just qualify for the Little League World Series. So that's a baseball example, right? And sports are good examples because supporting sports teams is in our it's in our vernacular. It's in our DNA a little bit with the culture of America. But it could be anything. It could be a actor, actress who's trying to get on American Idol. It could be, there's a lot of these things. And what I love about Brandon's in particular is this thought of, doing coats for the homeless is fantastic. But you're making somebody warm for the winter, and that's great. But with Brandon, what happened when they got to go to Oklahoma City is this child's mind or world went from this big to this big, and a child's mind never goes backwards, right? So, and then they went to Poland, right? And now they're going to Australia. Their world is so much bigger and more rich or richer because of this GoFundMe, right? So that's one that really is compelling. The compelling story is when we can make this huge catalytic moment in somebody's life. And youth is a really, that 10 to 12-year-old who's doing something, that 17, 18-year-old who couldn't afford the plane ticket. So, if all you did was look for opportunities like this, you win, right?
So let's take your baseball team example. Just as you said that, a couple ideas come to mind for me. If I were going to capture the story of a little league team or a kid, whatever, the kids like Max's age, right?
Yeah.
Amazing accomplishments that Max has had already.
Yeah.
I would go to that team, and the first thing I would do is I would talk to the person in charge, whether it's a coach, whether it's one parent or whatever, and I'd say, hey, I'd like to do this thing, okay? And this is how I sold it to these folks, because a lot of these parents were resistant at first. We don't want to be asking for charity. Yeah. And I said, look, this is not about you.
And
this is about charity. And it's not charity. This is about me and the people like me. We want to be involved. We want a way to say that we helped make this happen. This is an easy way for us to do it. I can donate $100 and it's not gonna affect my lifestyle at all. But now I'm part of the story, and they all got that. They resonated. Okay. So once you get past the hurdle of that gatekeeper, you gotta get past the gatekeeper, and you want their consent too, because later on you're gonna need their help. Okay. Yeah. They're gonna be part of your team to make these funds realize, right? But then I would look at the team itself and I would say, all right, chances are 75% of these kids, their families, have the resources to make this happen. But there's going to be a few kids on this team who do not have the resources. Okay. Maybe they're the most passionate players. Maybe they've not been on the bench all year, but they're there for every play, whatever it is. I want to tell their story. Okay. I want to, and maybe that's using sensationalism a little bit. I don't know. But I would want to get the story, or another alternative would be, I want to see what has happened to kids in the past who've done this and had the opportunity to go to something like this. What has that done for their athletic career down the road? Wow. And I'm going to capture that in the 2 or 3 minute story that I'm going to tell in my GoFundMe video. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's good. Yep.
Really, really bring them in. Capture something that people are just like shed a tear, like, oh my God, yeah. I want to be part of that. I want to help that. Okay.
Love it.
Okay. That's the story aspect of it. I made a note here, and this is something that I really, really learned, and I didn't anticipate when we launched it, but it became very clear. I wrote, it's unrealistic and unfair to your community to expect them to just be charitable. Okay. You said it. You have to influence them. You have to lead them into it. And we'll get to a really powerful way to use that a little bit later on. But to just launch something and let it run and expect your goal to hit, maybe it happens once in a while, but that's an anomaly.
Yeah.
Okay. You are going to stay.
You got to stir it, right?
You got to stir
it. You can't just let it all settle to the bottom and burn the bottom, right? I mean, it's like you gotta stir the spaghetti. You got to stir the soup. You got to and just stir it, right? You don't have to pound it. But you got to stir it, tell the story, circulate the story, right?
Michael, I don't know if all your listeners are in the real estate business, but let's be fair. A good portion of them are anyway, right?
Yeah.
In real estate, they say it's the 2 Ps or the 3 Ps or whatever. You plug a sign in the front yard and you pray that it sells.
Yeah.
That doesn't work with GoFundMe.
Yeah.
It's not a set it and forget it.
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll get to that a little later. Your job is to capture the story, the narrative, compress it to fit today's shortened attention span.
Right.
Okay, my video is 2.5 minutes long. I wouldn't want to go any longer unless I was Ken Burns, right? But for the purposes of doing this, 2.5 minutes is about it. And we'll share a link to it so you can see, other people can see, okay, I get it. That's how he did it. The ultimate storytelling tool these days, in my opinion, is video. As far as online capturing people in a short, compressed way. You don't have to do that, though. You can post photos and you can write a story if that's your strength. But video is just so powerful.
Yeah, you get so much across in 2.5 minutes, right? I mean, it might take someone to read, it might take them 30 minutes to read the same amount and get the same point you could deliver in 3 minutes in a video, right?
Yeah.
And that 3 minute window seems to be the magic timeline for a video, right?
Yep, exactly. Okay, which is the next step. The next step is you begin the outreach. Now you're reaching out to the different people that you want to capture. You're telling them, hey guys, I'm going to come to your practice. I'm going to come to your practice on Thursday afternoon at 4:00. I'm going to be there to shoot some video. Maybe you want to interview a couple of the kids. Yeah. Maybe you want to, whatever it is, just shoot B-roll and then tell the story afterwards, which is kind of what I ended up doing.
Yeah. So what's B-roll for those that don't know?
Is just footage of them doing their thing, secondary shots, showing their boats, showing kids warming up, artistic shots that you can just link together, and then you're narrating it in the background. That's kind of what I ended up doing. I actually tried to shoot some videos, and the audio didn't end up working. Mm-hmm. So I ended up scrapping the audio, but I still used the video and just showed clips. My longest clip was probably 3 or 4 seconds, but I stitched them together. You know, in the end, it all worked.
Yeah.
Okay. But let me be clear. Your project is already underway. You are performing to your audience from the minute you've begun your outreach. And certainly while you're there capturing video, you are influencing and you're gaining traction even then. You haven't even launched it yet. Because all these parents are like, look what he's doing for our.
Look how much he's helping.
Look how much he's helping. Yeah, I wish I had the energy to do that.
He doesn't even have a kid on the team.
Exactly, that's true.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I don't have a kid on this team at all. My kids are just not involved in it yet.
Yeah.
So I think I just like what I think on that. Sometimes we don't know how to get into conversation with people. We don't know what am I going to say? And when you can create a story and be attached to a project, it all of a sudden opens up the connections, the conversations. It's not a question of, well, what do I say? There's just, you just go do the stuff there is to do. And I think that's, for half the people, that's half the battle.
Yeah.
So I really love this. Like, you're inserting yourself into something that already gives you what to say and what to do and all of that. I love that.
Yeah. The story's already compelling. They just need somebody to tell it. It's almost like being a director or writer of a film.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, if I were telling this person's story, how would I do it?
Yep.
And all you're doing is telling the story. I love that.
And in talking to the parents that were watching what was unfolding, a number of them said, you know, Brandon, we don't need the resources. We have money. We have the means to do this. We've been wanting to help some of the other families do it, but they've refused our help. So this gives us an anonymous way to help.
Right. Third party.
I never thought of that. It's brilliant, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're separated a little bit more. They don't feel like they're going to owe you necessarily, whereas where it's somebody on the team, they feel like it's charity. I've had that happen many, many times where, you know, I'll organize it to get some kid a pair of shoes or whatever. And it happened. We had to, I've gotten a lot better at how that happens from the aspect of the kid getting the thing, right? They have to earn it, so to speak. But it's one of those where in the beginning, it was just like, you know, here's a new pair of shoes. And you could just tell from the parents, it's just like, you know, we don't take charity. You know, what's this about? You know, it's like, what are you doing? It's like, okay, just take them, wear them. And if you don't like them, give them back at the end of the year. You know, so this way we've made it, but you're exactly right. It's when it's so closely tied, there's this emotional thing of, you know, we're kind of all equals. And if you do this, we're no longer equal. Right. So that's a powerful point to this. It's better to be a third party outside interest to do this than it is to be one of the parents of the kids on the team, you know?
Right.
So that's a great point.
And never forget that, again, it's not all about the recipient. It's about those of us who want to be part of the story.
That's right.
Right. And so sometimes we reminded parents of that and they're like, I get it. Yeah. My kid's an exceptional athlete. This lets you into his world a little bit. Exactly. That's all we want to do. Right.
I love it. And it's so powerful because it's like people, it's almost like, you know what? Don't rob the great feeling I get from giving, right? Don't rob it. Don't rob that feeling. I'm just giving. You just take it. Enjoy it. Don't rob the good feeling I get from giving, right?
Yep. And another thing too, Michael, is as realtors, it's easy to lose sight of how meaningful $3,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 can be.
That's right.
Because those are the numbers we deal with in every day, right?
Yeah.
to a working class person, or to a person who doesn't have the resources to send their kid,
right? To a team,
to
a baseball team, their budget's $20,000 for the whole year, right, and that includes uniform. I mean, $1,000 is it's a major league group of stuff, right? It's new equipment, it's safety, it's another tournament or 5. It's 5 tournaments.
Yeah.
So it's I mean, yeah, we don't want to underestimate our impact either, right?
Yep. And that I'm gonna focus on what you just said for a second. That's a great thing to include in the narrative of your video or your story. This is what the money is going to do.
That's right.
This money, exactly. This money is going to help 18 kids get to X with all their expenses covered and da. You know what I mean? Whatever it might be. Great thing to talk about in the video. Okay.
So on that, just a quick note to expand on it is this is something straight out of they've done research on donations and things like that. Brad Pitt has one of the biggest he came in, he's got some ties to New Orleans, and he helped after Katrina, and they were trying to get donations for Katrina and things like that. It was going okay. And then they started this building project where they're going to build the houses out, build the condos out. And so what they decided to do is when you go to donate, it opens up the condo, and you can buy the toilet. You can buy the kitchen sink. You can buy the cabinets. You can donate, and what you donate specifically goes to something. And they discovered that where people would donate $10 to $15, they were now donating $1,000 to $1,500 because it was like, I'm giving to something. There's specificity to the give.
Awesome. Yep. Yeah. Awesome. Okay.
Exactly what you're talking about. That's awesome.
Okay.
Let's get ready for referrals. In the red corner, we have the average agent working by advertising, learning on the fly, no systems, no profit, and no clients. And in the blue corner, we have what could be you, the profitable agent working by referral, loving life and loving their clients. Are you ready? Take your business to the next level and go to www.callwithcoach.com and set up your free referral coaching session. Go now, change your business forever. www.callwithcoach.com.
Okay, cool. So let's go back one step. The vast majority of realtors and people who would do this are afraid to get behind a camera or in front of a camera. Either way, okay? So if that's your fear, great. Hire one of your real estate videographers. Hire one of your real estate photographers, whatever it is, and bring them along, okay?
Love it.
And whether or not you're in the video, I didn't appear in the video. I used my voice to give the narrative behind the scenes. I was the narrator, but I never appeared in it. It was never about me. So
that's an aha, right? That's a gem right there. Is that there are a lot of people who are just like, you know what, I'm a little averse to getting in front of the camera. And right here, you're saying, I wasn't even, and what's so funny is you weren't even on the camera, and we haven't even talked about the referrals you've gotten from this, right? And it's like, you weren't even on there. And I will tell you, maybe it worked to your advantage, not because you have a face for radio, that would be me, right? You have a face for TV, you're a good looking guy, right? But it's like, it might have even worked to your advantage that you didn't make it all about you, right? I've seen some of those where I just saw one where it's him talking the whole time about how damn charitable he is, right? I mean, it was me, but it's like, I'm just kidding. But it's one of those where it's like, I think it works better. Listen, downplay it. They know what you do. They know where to find you. It's not about you.
It's not about you.
Love that. That is such an important lesson.
Let me tell you a fail story that we just saw. We were just laughing our butts off the other day. We saw there was a social media post by a hotshot realtor who's got 5,000 followers and everything else. And he posted this list of donors to his kid's school. And his post said, "Yep, that's my name at the top of the donor list."
Oh, no way.
My kid's school. No, I'm dead serious. I mean,
that's awesome.
We were rolling on the floor, looking
at
here's our competition. This is why it's so easy to stand out.
I think we saw the same video.
I think he got 9 likes from his 5,000.
That's huge for him, though.
Exactly.
I mean, he had 7 on the list.
Dude. Oh my God. Anyway, there's there's just enough, and nor are you striving for total anonymity.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously there's a component, but my voice, the fact that it was uploaded to my Vimeo account, those are enough connections that everybody kind of knew who was behind it. Plus I was there shooting the video. That's all I needed. I didn't need to say, hey, this has been by Brandon Nelson, production by Brandon Nelson. Never, ever, ever. Right. Okay. So where were we? Begin your outreach to the people involved. We talked about that a little bit. Anyone permission. Let me warn the listeners for a second. Not everybody's going to like what you're doing. Not everybody likes GoFundMe. Okay. Some people, it makes them all bristly because they think it's begging for money, or they think I should have been on that trip when I was a kid, so I'm not going to support that. You know what?
Oh, humbug.
Those are not your people. It's that simple.
Yeah.
There's haters everywhere, and this is no different. Okay. Especially if you're successful with it. My dad always used to say, my dad was a world-class athlete his whole life. Brandon, when you win, you lose friends. Okay. Get used to it. Right? Because not everybody likes the fact that you hit your goal. Okay.
Hey, listen, if you're going to take arrows though, take them in your back.
There you go.
Right?
There you go.
Right. Just keep going. You're going to get arrows no matter what. So
back to what you said,
take them in your back.
Back to what you said in the beginning.
Write that down. I just made that up.
That's awesome. Yeah. Take them in the back. Back to what you said in the beginning too. If nothing comes of this except you helped some kids get to, that's enough, right? That's enough. Let there be haters.
The referral game.
Yeah. If you don't have some haters out there, you're not trying hard enough, right? That's right. So, all right. So you've got your video captured. Then you gotta do what it takes. If you've got the skills to edit it, fantastic. If you don't, great. Spend a couple $100 and get it edited. Anybody can do that these days. So you get it down to this nice bite-sized piece, 1, 2, 3 minutes tops. You tell the story. You have some kind of ask at the end. Mine wraps up with, let's help these kids get to Poland and Australia. Let's get behind them and become part of this dream come true, or something to that effect. That's it. Then it shuts off. Boom. Okay.
Yep.
Let's see here. Going on to my next page here. Edit it down. It's written. It's uploaded. Okay. Then you've got a video. You've uploaded it to YouTube or Vimeo or whatever. Then you jump over to GoFundMe.com. It's the simplest platform in the world. It will guide you right through the steps. It takes about as long as it does to, say, start a YouTube account or a Facebook account or whatever. It just guides you through the steps, and you write your story, and then you're given a link, and it's ready to go. I mean, it couldn't be easier. I don't even remember the details because it was just so intuitive and so easy.
And that's part of the download. So they'll get that as part of the download from this show. And so it's like 7 steps at the most, 3 steps at the least. It's very, very, very logical.
Super simple. So then you've got a link, it's GoFundMe.com/your fundraising project, whatever you've titled it. You've set a goal. Say we set a $10,000 goal. Okay. It was more than what we needed to get these kids to where they were going, but that's okay. They can roll it forward to next year or do whatever they wanted, right? They'll spend it somewhere. Okay. Then what I did is I seeded it with a $100 donation. Didn't have to, but just said, hey, I'm behind this thing. And I took that link and I sent it out around. I put it on, we have a email list group for all the local paddlers. I sent it out to them. I probably put something on Facebook. But then here's the important thing to know. The majority of the success that I had getting people to donate was individual emails, addressing them by their name, telling them about the project, and asking them to be part of it. One by one, I'd get up in the mornings and I'd send out 5 emails a day. 75% of those people made a donation.
Yeah.
It didn't get a ton of traction from no strangers that were just out there in the stratosphere donated. Yeah. That's okay. The people, the parents, the other people watching it shared it. It got 160 shares.
How many shares did the guy get that was sharing about being on top of the donor list? Right? It's so funny. It's like listings, right? You post a listing on your personal page and your business page, it will get like 0 to 1 shares. the seller posts that they're selling their house and like how, like, oh my gosh, we hate to do this, but we have to sell our house. And it gets like 27 shares. You know, it's just like, it's exactly right. It's organic, right? It's more helpful. It's less commercial. You know, I think in real estate in general, we need to be less commercial and be more communicative, I guess. Maybe that's not the word, but be more real, right? Less commercial and be more real.
Yep.
So you loaded it up, you put it on. One strategy that you really maybe didn't go deep into is you put it into your paddlers and canoe and kayaking group, people who would most likely donate, right? And then you sent it out to your community, and then you used your influence with this daily 5, right? You sent 5 emails just saying, Tommy, you know, I'd love to, even if you could share $1, it would help, create this really powerful story for this kid, this opportunity, to send them to the next level, right?
Exactly. And using some of the buzz phrases of the amount doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The amount doesn't matter. One of yours, regardless of the outcome.
That's right.
We want to show the support to these kids. So the low-hanging fruit for me was every single one of my team members got an ask from me. Guess what? Every one of them donated. All the realtors who've had something that they've asked me to support in the past, and I did. I reached out to them. Hey, guys, it's your turn. I want to give you a chance to reciprocate, right? Every single one of them did. A number of the parents did, and then a number of the parents' family, extended family, got on board. Fantastic. Every single person who donated, I jumped in the GoFundMe at the end of the day, and I personally thanked them. Okay, and that was,
what you appreciate appreciates.
Well, exactly.
Right? You want more donations? Appreciate the donations you're getting.
Totally. And here's what started happening after the first week or so, and this thing's got some traction. It's been shared by that point 50 times. Now I'm running into people in town who are going, Brandon, saw the project, man. Love what you're doing. Maybe they didn't even donate, but it's all of a sudden here it comes. Here it comes, right? And then I'm going in, I'm checking in on the practice. I go, hey, let me pop in and see how these guys are doing. Brandon, we're up. I can't believe we're up to $5,000. Amazing. That's it. We're going to Poland, and it just grows from there. So I did the first $100. Then I just sent out the daily 5, and I kept people updated. I asked one of the 4 paddlers that I kind of featured, one of the kids going to Poland, hey, shoot a quick video thank you, an acknowledgement to the community. And she sent it to me, 16-year-old girl, and I uploaded it to the GoFundMe thing, so it went out to all the people. Little things like that. Just you keep it live, just like you do with a good listing, right?
Yeah.
And then by day 14, we were at, I think, $9,000.
Wow.
And so the parents at that point were saying, Brandon, shut it off. It's enough money.
It's too much.
Exactly. They were like, shut it off. And I said, okay, let me do one more push. Okay. Because I wanted to hit the goal at that point.
You got to go to 10 at least, right?
I'm
10,
not freaking shut it off.
Right? Even if you have to donate the last 100.
So we were at 9,200 or something like that. And I did one more push, and I said, Brendan Nelson Partners will match every donation that gets us to the $10,000 mark.
Nice.
And the floodgates opened again, and we went past $10,000, and I ended up donating another $300 or something like that. But then all of a sudden, now I've got a reason to reach out again to the whole community. Yeah. Oh my God, we smashed the goal. Yep. Everybody's going to Poland, total success. 67 people were involved, whatever it was, the number of people. And
I see Oprah, like, you're going to Poland, you're going to Poland, you're going to Poland, and you're going to Poland. You're all going to Poland.
Yeah. Yep. So here's what the team did. The coach gets back to me and he says, or the board rather, because this is a nonprofit. It's a nonprofit who has the team. They got back and said, Brandon, we have more than twice the amount we need to send these kids to Poland. So the balance is going to go into an international travel fund for future kids in future years to go to races, right? The seed is there. And awesome. then without ever saying, and by the way, I'll accept your referrals, without a single word of that, here they come.
So what happened? I mean, that's the thing.
Happened?
There's going to be people who are motivated by the give,
Yeah.
but there's also going to be people who are motivated by the receive.
Yeah.
Right. And it's both good. Right. I always say giving and receiving are not different. Right. They're like inhaling and exhaling. Right. It's hard to go through life just inhaling. Right, Clinton? It's really hard to go through life just exhaling. Right. I don't know who I would reference on that. But inhaling and exhaling are two sides of the same coin. You got to inhale and you got to exhale. Yeah. And it's just like that with giving and receiving. It's giving and receiving are on two sides of the same coin, right? And people sometimes ask me, all right, what's on the edge, trying to be a smart aleck? And I'll go, love, right? Love is the edge, right? Love is the edge of the coin. And it's giving and receiving are on the top and bottom. So it's one of those where, listen, it is the give, but let's talk about the receive. And you are open to receiving, right? I mean, somebody goes, you know what? You did so good on that. I'd like to give you a referral. And you go, no. You know? But listen, Brandon, it's so funny. We have people who do that, right? There's an opportunity that comes up and they just, you know, stop it. And it's just like, no, you got to be an appreciative receiver as well as being a generous giver. And so what happened? What let's talk business, right?
So the first thing that was just the most, oh my God, this is amazing, was not even directly related to the program. It was the mother of a young gal who was friends with these top racers who watched the whole thing unfold and called up and said, and I had not ever marketed to this person, never mailed her. She wasn't on my nothing, right? Brandon, we'd like to have you come over and take a look at her house. And then we'd like to help you or have you help us get into a new place. I went over $1.5 million listing. And oh, by the way, they're spending up to $1 million in cash on the next place. No, we don't have to sell first. Let's just start with the purchase. So right away, I'm looking, are you kidding me? Right? Okay. Then within a couple weeks, the coach of the program, hey, Brandon, you know what? They're building multifamilies near my place. We're ready to get out of here. Come and help us out. $750,000 listing. They're shopping up to $900,000. Coach of the program. And then the parents of one of the top racer who went to Poland, just amazing young woman, went to in Oklahoma City, entered 9 events, won 9 gold medals.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
15-year-old girl. Okay. They said,
I hope that was on the news.
Yeah, right.
9 golds.
It's an obscure, you know what? The thing about this sport is, and I don't know if there's anything to take away from this or if it's just a trivia, but this is such an obscure sport. There's no scholarship money for it anywhere. Yeah. There's no future in it for making a living.
Are they strong in rowing too because of it? Because rowing is a college scholarship type of entity at certain places.
Yeah. I mean, 2 different things really. Okay. Just two different sports. Okay. You know, both on the water, but other than that, not
with
really.
Oars,
you know,
with a similar shaped boat, you know, similar
facing forward.
You know, don't you know,
semantics.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, so anyway, her mom and dad, oh, Brandon, we've got family with property. It just, you know, those are the 3 within like a month of the project happening. Wow. And it just goes outward from there, you know? Wow. So, and have I gone back and, we closed it. We hit our goal. We went to $10,300. We hit our goal. We closed it. We helped them transfer the money into their account. And then within days of hitting the goal, the kids went to Poland. This weekend, this gal leaves for Australia. We happen to be going as well, but it's not related to the GoFundMe in any way. We just happen to be going as well, so my wife can race. And since then, have I reshared it on social media or anything else? No, I really haven't. I've just kind of moved on to the next thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it just keeps giving.
I feel like one of the things that happens for people is with social media, they'll post stuff on social media, or they'll pick up an idea like this, and this is a great idea. And then they think that once it's on GoFundMe or once they post to Facebook, then there's no work. And I think the real gift and the real magic happens in the working it. Like if you don't work it, it doesn't work. And I think it's very easy for people to chase fun, shiny ideas and be like, oh, that's a great idea. Try the idea, not work the idea, and then say, it didn't work. Yeah. And I love what you're saying in the story. What's that? Right.
I think you ought to have a passion for it too. Yeah. You know, I think, and identify the momentum and realize that you may have to create some of the momentum. Yep. Right. That's what Brandon did. He created momentum by donating the $100 and by doing 5 emails a day and posting it out. It got some momentum. Yep. And I mean, at that point, when somebody gives, then you're all over it with the appreciation, which creates more energy and more momentum. And most of the energy, his giving energy was really high, but the appreciation energy was even higher. Right. And that's what like I say, what you appreciate appreciates. It's like the more you appreciate, the more you will have to appreciate. And he just appreciated the heck. And then doing the video with the gal on the team who expressed their appreciation. I mean, that's going to set the world on fire. Right. Because and then hopefully that girl, 15, 16-year-olds, understand the power of appreciation for the rest of their lives. You know?
Yep. And it's really, really important. I want to say a lesson that I learned, although it didn't surprise me much, but you cannot go into this thinking that you're going to get all the shower of gratitude.
That's right. You're not. Yeah.
You're not. You're not.
They're always suspicious. That's what's so amazing is they're like, these are 15-year-old girls. What does this guy want with this, right? Or they're going to be thinking, what's the ulterior motive? What do you get? I mean, you're just doing this for real estate business, right? And it's just one of those like, no, I'm doing this to help. And everybody, isn't it funny how we're suspicious of helpers? And why is because, you know what? I think that's happened out there where people did have ulterior motives to helping, right? Yep. And it's like, just give, just do it anyway. I've had this so many times in my life. People, it's funny how they look at you like, hey, listen, I'm here to help. How can I help? And they go,
yeah,
like, what do you really want? It's like, I really want to help, right? I really want.
I thought for a minute in the beginning that there would be this tremendous outpouring of gratitude from the kids. And I'm going to be honest, it didn't come.
Yeah.
I know it was there.
Yeah.
I know it was there, and they're talking to their parents still like that. And I know 10 years from now, they'll look back and go, wow, that was amazing what the community Maybe they will, but
again, entitlement out there. Right?
It's not why I did it. Yeah. And whatever, yeah. Right? Yeah. So go into it knowing that you're going to have to, that's not going to happen. And also you're going to have to take people by the hand and lead them into the action you want them to take. And if you do that, they're happy to take it, but you're going to have to lead them. And that's okay.
Yeah. Brandon, in wrapping, I'm curious if somebody listening to this is like, I get this whole strategy. This sounds really good to me. Like, where's the place to start? Like, what can they do today, tomorrow to actually give life to the idea? Start
practicing identifying stories in your community. Mm-hmm. Just start by identifying. Just like when you've got some monopoly money, you want to get into the stock market. So you're just going to start reading about different stocks, and you're going to invest your monopoly money just to play. Okay. Mm-hmm. Just start looking for stories. What could I insert myself into the middle of where I could make a change, a difference, an impact if I were to put something together? Okay. And then if you're the kind of person who wants to tiptoe into it, fantastic. Start with something small, set a $500 goal, and achieve a success. Don't start with a $100,000 goal to get a new opera house, started in your neighborhood. Well, that's huge. Yeah. Start with something you can succeed with. But I can't overstate the importance of there being a story to your pitch, to this project.
Do you think it has to be positive? Right? I mean, like yours is a really positive story and there's no downside. If you only raise $500, everybody's fine, right? So there's not, so here's the opposite, right? Shooting, right? A bar shooting or a school shooting or a concert shooting, right? And then there's families that need help, right? Or an injury or a car wreck or, a catastrophe. And then there's this feeling of wanting to help bring those families to normalcy. What you are kind of doing is taking those people from normalcy to giving them a higher level of life, right? Do you think that might have had some factor in the winning and the feeling and the the surrounding aura of this?
I don't know the answer to that, Michael. I can tell you that the positivity and the taking someone from this level to next level is just who I am.
Yeah.
So it was a natural fit for me to do that.
And it's kayaking and boating, right?
Right,
so,
right.
Passion.
Like I didn't come from obscurity into this community, right? This is my community to begin with.
Right. And the kayaking community is your community. Right.
It is. And there is it okay for the person who's going to design this to say, well, I'm going to focus on a part of the community that buys and sells real estate. Well, yeah, that's totally okay.
Yeah.
Right. That's okay. That's a lot different than being blatant that I expect referrals from this thing that I'm doing. You know, no, you're just, so there's all kinds of nuance. We didn't go into this at all, and it's a completely different story, but within a month of doing this project, we hit as a team an annual goal that we had set back at the New Year's. We said, when we've sold the 100th house of the year, we'll donate $10,000 to a local cause. And in that case, so literally a month after this, we cut a giant 5-foot long, $10,000 check to a local program called Skookum Kids. And what they do is they help kids in the first 72 hours of entering the foster care system. So that's all that's just basic human need, right? Just helping these poor kids survive. And that wasn't a giant thing. We made one picture, one post just to say, hey, we're proud to be able to do this. That got over 600 likes and a bunch of shares and stuff. But we never went after anybody or any referrals after that. We just did it to give back.
And some people would think, oh, go ahead, Chris.
Well, I just think the power, whether it's a positive or a sad or a happy project, the fact that you're connected to it, I think, is part of what gives you the steam to see it through. And if you're not connected to it and it's just this thing you're doing to try to get referrals, you won't go the distance with the project. And so I think, if you're, to Brandon, your point, like a place to start is to look for a story that inspires your story.
That matters to you.
Matters to you.
That's
exactly.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's so powerful what we're doing here. It some people might think, well, you got lucky that it was a $1.4 million house and they bought $1 million house cash, and the other one was $750,000 buying $900,000. It's like, no. Generosity is the ultimate differentiator in the luxury market. They didn't really know Brandon from Adam other than a great reputation, but they knew he was generous. And I will tell you that generosity is a commonality to the wealthy and the affluent. So they instantly assume he's like us because we're also generous. And the other thing we need to remember about generosity is that the wealthy people don't become generous. They've been generous all their lives, which has led to prosperity. They've been generous from the very first lemonade stand they did when they were 7 or 11. They were giving ample servings or double servings. They've been generous their whole life. And generosity, A, can be learned, and B, is one of those things where that's where the ones you really want to work with are the ones who are going to see within you this strand, like a gold strand in the side of a hill. It's this generous strand in the core of our being. And generous people will work with generous people. So be a generous person if you want to work with generous people. If we go way back before I ever read 7L, before I ever met Michael, and prior to all that, I spent, I think, $1,000 a month on some Zillow leads, right? And after 6 months, I just said, gosh, I could have just flushed that money down the toilet and generated the same amount of business. So I said I had one buyer's agent at the time. I said, what if we took that money and spent it on our people instead?
Yep. Okay.
And right. And so that was the seed of everything that we do now, where we say, let's take the ice cold leads off the table and focus on our people. How can we give to them? And it is infinitely more enjoyable of a business to do it that way. Our people don't call us up and say, hey, you're one of 6 realtors we're interviewing. Brandon, we're ready to sell our house. Can you come over next week? Oh no, we'll wait. 3 weeks from now, that's fine. you know, and it's just, oh, what an epiphany,
wow. Yeah.
right?
That's good. That's good. Well, I think for all those listening, this is clearly not just a successful project, but a strategic way to get to know your community. Like, talk about getting in relationship with people. This is an incredible way to do it. And if you guys listening to this want to get the steps that Brandon used to create his GoFundMe account and have it be successful, you guys can go to referralspodcast.com to download that. Referralspodcast.com to download. Brandon, if people listening to this want to connect with you, they have a referral for you, or they'd like to just check you out, like, what's a great place for them to reach you at?
Reach us through brandonnelson.com.
Super easy.
And we have referred him. And I will tell you that it's your client will call you and say, you are a hero for referring me to Brandon. So, I mean, the customer service they deliver at Brandon Nelson and Partners is off the charts.
Well, thank you, Michael. Thank you. We not quite up to 689 5-star reviews like you, but we have 300 and some odd, and every single one is 5 stars. And we're very proud of that.
It's really great.
300 plus.
Yep.
Right. I mean, you got to be the most recommended team in Bellingham.
It's worked well for us.
Yeah. That's really good. Thank you for being on the show today, Brandon, for sharing what you learned and what worked. And it's always fun to meet other entrepreneurs who are out there making a difference in the generosity generation. So thanks for being on the show. Again, if you guys want Brandon's steps, go to referralspodcast.com. You can download those today. Michael, Brandon, thanks for the great show, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome.